how do you reel in a big client? And we're talking like the even small developers, the people with the multi-million-dollar potential projects. And it's so hard. It's so hard to, like, our typical process for small projects, we can email a proposal. If it's a few $1,000 or even like tens of thousands of dollars, it's a lot of money, but at the same time, it's not to the degree where it's like $100,000 kind of thing, like the six-figure kind of proposals or more. I got a call from an architect friend. So a lot of us small architects, we've got our kind of friend circles of other small architects that we stay connected to because we're all in the same kind of boat of figuring out, we're like fighting for scraps in terms of the projects out there, because we're not landing the giant condos, we're not landing the airports. We're too small for that, where we don't have the outfit for it or the client base. If we had landed something like that, I would have to ramp up resources like crazy, and that's fine. It's just it's like chicken and egg. Like, if you don't currently do that kind of work, it's hard to build up to. But on occasion, you get an opportunity. It's something like a mid-rise or something that's like 6 stories, that's like breaking into a larger market. And when that happens, you have to kind of rethink strategies of how do you bring in that client? How do you close on the deal? And so I got a call from a friend who runs also a small practice that they had this opportunity, and we were talking about, it's like, how do we do this? How do you I don't get any business out of it. This is just to help other people, help other firms too, and we're all in this kind of support group together in a way. And we're talking it out, and it's like, like one way to kind of bring them in is to not have such a giant commitment. You like for a small fee, you design something that's schematic, and then that will establish some kind of budget, and then the future fees will be kind of based on that kind of budget, which is a very fair way of doing things. Because we don't know, right now on the onset, when there's a blank slate, we have no idea how big this thing could be. It could be a $50 million project, and you could underprice it right on the onset. And then you're kind of screwed. Throughout the design process, you're like running off of a budget that makes no sense, a fee structure that makes no sense. So that's one way to do it, is like, okay, for a few $1,000s, we'll design a schematic of it. And then after that, then we'll have an established budget. We'll have an approximation of what this thing will cost. We think the fees should be in this range. That's a very fair way of going through the process. However, this client is like, no, I want fixed fee. And so it's like, oh God, how do you do this? And honestly, the only way to do it is to price it as you would price it. Like the discussion was like, oh, do I undercut so that I can get the project? It's like, listen, if you undercut and you land the project and it kind of scope creeps and all stuff, you're screwed. Like you're out of money, not money. It's like you're out of resources to actually do the project. And I've gone through the ringer in the last few years of this, of like, you underprice it just a little bit just to get it. And then you learn that this client is a nightmare, and you've burned through fees and there's nothing left. And it's like, that's a bad situation. So you kind of have to approach it where it's like, if I don't get the project, that's okay. Like if they're not willing to cough up the money it takes to design something, that's okay. Leave it for some other schmuck to take over that will fully undercut it and then not be able to deliver because they're out of fees, like a quarter of the way through. That's kind of how, if they're not willing to think of it as process and they're like, we just want a fee, you kind of have to just budget it for the whole gamut of the, like, okay, well, it's going to be $300,000 a fee to do this multi-residential thing, whatever it is. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if the owner or the client or whatever is like, oh, that's too much, it's like, well, you got no project. Like if you're not willing to spend the money to envision it, then it's just not the right fit, or it's just not the right client. And like, all of a sudden that's a good vet. Like almost in a way, you've dodged a bullet in a way. At the same time, it's like us architects, we don't make a lot of money. It's like razor thin margins. So that fee is actually eaten up across 4 or 5 years. 2 staff members gone. Like the fees are vaporized. So even on the onset, we've already almost run a loss by just bidding on it. So I don't know, like we had this whole kind of session. It's a tough nut to crack, but we came up with an idea of how to kind of potentially prep this client for for this firm, but who knows? We're still figuring it out. I don't have there's no like formula for like landing projects. You kind of have to feel it out. It's like each client is different. Each client, they have different requirements, different variables, and just personality types, and like, you know, dealing with people that only deal with money are different than people that deal with construction. Like the understanding of things is very different. And so we have to, as architects, we have to kind of wear different hats to be able to empathize with the client, figure out what are they about, and how do we work together aligned in the same kind of idea or same kind of agreement. Anyway, that's it for now. This is Architect on the Move. I'm Jason. Cheers. Bye.